Amaunet, called the hidden goddess. Amaunet is also called the mother who was the father, as well as being the hidden one in hieroglyphics. And she's classified as a goddess, but an ancient primordial goddess, the likes that haven't been really worshipped since those times. She is associated with creation itself, and she comes to us from the pantheon that we would call the Ogdoad of Hermopolis, that had great influence among the early settlers of the Nile River Valley civilization. Her classification of that of a primordial goddess really ties into the ancient part of what we would call the Egyptian religion. She was worshipped at Thebes throughout the late century and well into the Ptolemaic kingdom to approximately 30 BCE. So pretty deep into this civilization. But other information tells us that the Ogdoad were worshipped far, far longer than any of the other gods that we would refer to as the Enid. In what we would call Nile River Valley civilization, the Ogdoad were considered to be 8 primordial deities that were key to the creation of the universe and the stability of the universe. And they were set up in pairs, so there were always 2. And they were key to maintain a balance that kept everything in place. The references to the Ogdoad and the other deities associated with it go all the way back to the pyramid texts of the Old Kingdom. And even by that time, references are showing them as antiquated and almost forgotten to most of the common citizens, but kept alive by the theology. They were also mentioned a lot in some of the coffin texts that appear in the Middle Kingdom as well. And Amaunet holds a very, very special place as a divine mother who was said to be presiding over the birth of mankind from the very beginning of time. And though time has forgotten her in that manifestation, she later was mentioned with the goddess who we would call Neith. And that is where the name comes about, the mother who was the father, almost alluding to her not needing a partner for procreation. But in the Ogdoad cosmology, the deities are often paired together, and she's paired with Amun, who represented her male energy counterpart. And Amun obviously is known as the hidden god, who sits behind what we would call the Enid in that pantheon, and those deities are manifestations of him, or he sits at the head of that pantheon. So that's a place that Amaunet holds as his female counterpart, his female energy. And later on in the Ptolemaic, during the Ptolemaic era, she was seen as the embodiment of the north wind. Obviously, looking at the Ogdoad opens up a lot of mythology that develops along that very crucial Nile River Valley civilization that has been occupied by Africans from sub-Saharan Africa originally, but became a metropolitan of trade and commerce and conquest that brought in many mythologies and many beliefs. But we can find out more about what the original people thought by looking at what their most ancient worship deities were, and that is in a way what Amaunet represents. When we look at her male counterpart, and we know that Amun or Amun-Ra is at the source of even modern prayer when Christians say Amen. And that is also a place that she should hold, that of reverence, being the counterpart to this very powerful male energy. Thank you again for stopping at Nile Chronicles. As always, be sure to check out some of our other videos, and we always ask that you like and subscribe.